Good normally wins in the end, but sometimes there are a lot of forces acting against it, and right now we are seeing some of that happening when it comes to Dogecoin. Take a look at this tweet here. Innocent as it may seem, there's a lot more to it than what you may think. Take a look. Cryptocurrency enthusiasts, you will likely know that AMC Theaters has announced we will accept Bitcoin for online ticket concession payments by year end of 2021. Now, I can confirm today that when we do so, we also expect that we will similarly accept Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash, 3 cryptocurrencies. Additionally being added on here, all of them are good to see, and we knew this was going to happen. But you may notice there's one missing from this, one very important one that you would think would almost certainly be added, and yes, it is called Dogecoin. Being excluded from this list, but the reason why is actually a little bit worse than what you may think, because on my show, after the Bitcoin announcement, which was a number of weeks ago, may have been even a little bit over a month ago, but on my show, right after the announcement, it was the day after, I told you guys, I can confirm 100%, take it to the bank, that we are going to see them accepting, or at least they're planning to accept, more cryptocurrencies, which is going to include Ethereum as well as a number of others, and Dogecoin is on that list. The plan has been for AMC to accept Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and Ethereum. It makes too much sense. It's simply the only option that works. To accept Dogecoin after you have had your stock propped up massively by the meme community, it has to happen, right? But there's more to it. By the way, before we get into some of these details, let's go ahead and get the like button pressed. Let's see if we can get this video out to as many people as possible. Once again, it is 9:56. We're still in the process of transitioning when it comes to everything with the studio. A lot is being worked on, which means the schedule for making lives and making videos is a little bit off at this current point in time. So we do need assistance to get this video out to as many people as possible due to the time constraint. But that's okay. We'll make it happen. Let's go down there and press the like button on this video. But for them to go and do this 360, there's only one possible explanation here, because it was for sure, it was a done deal. It was Ethereum, it was Dogecoin, it was Bitcoin, and then they were going to add a number of other ones. It was done, it was on paper, they were ready, that was the plan. Then last minute here, they change it and don't include Dogecoin in this plan. So there has to be something here. There has to be something here that caused them to switch on a dime like that, because it doesn't just happen randomly. There is someone right now, either within AMC or an outside force, who is purposefully trying to stop Dogecoin because they had to actually take it off of the list. Now think about this. Right now, Litecoin is included in this. Litecoin is literally just a fork of Bitcoin that has some of its own things. And Dogecoin is literally just a fork of Luckycoin, which is a fork of Litecoin, which also has some of its own things. So both of them are a fork of another cryptocurrency. And yet, even though Dogecoin has a significantly bigger market cap, I mean, we're not even talking about a close comparison here. Dogecoin's significantly bigger than Litecoin when it comes to market cap. We can actually take a look at that right here, and you can see it. Dogecoin right now has a market cap that is over 30 billion, and we see Litecoin with market cap nowhere near that, not even close. And Litecoin is being picked over it despite having a lot of the same things. Now, maybe you argue, well, Litecoin's its own chain. Well, no, it's not. It's based off of Bitcoin. Well, what does Litecoin have that could possibly make it go ahead? Well, it's as simple as this. They were going to put Dogecoin in that slot, but then this last minute change is now putting Litecoin instead, because it's really easy to switch out Dogecoin for Litecoin because they're already working on this process, and it's such an easy switch. But that was supposed to be Dogecoin's slot. Now Litecoin is filling it instead. What the heck happened here? We need to get to the bottom of this. But what I can tell you right now is what everyone needs to know. There is a force within this, or from an outside thing, that is causing this to happen, and that's not good. That's really not good. We need to get to the bottom of it. It's not going to be able to truly stop Dogecoin, but it is going to cause clearly some problems, as is right now. That's not what we want to see. Not even close. Litecoin has a market cap currently of 12 billion, which means it's significantly smaller than Dogecoin with a market cap of 31 billion, close to 3 times as small, less than half the size, and yet they're including that. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. Now it does. You wouldn't think they would do that. You wouldn't expect it. Litecoin, by the way, has actually not even gone up that much from this. The reason why is because Litecoin is not going to ever go up that much from a media attention storm that's like that. Why? Because it does not have the same type of energy that Dogecoin has around it. Dogecoin would actually be spent a heck of a lot at AMC if they decide to accept it, which is such a silly move. I mean, it's wrong on so many levels for them to do that, and yet here we are in this position right now. But you can see Litecoin spiked up massively with the fake Walmart announcement. Now, only a little bit after this, we actually have a real announcement coming in, but the tweets under this are just really indicative of how out of touch AMC is with this move and how there's clearly someone else behind the scenes pulling these strings that's anti-Dogecoin. And I certainly hope it is just someone at AMC rather than an outside force. Cough, cough, Jeff Bezos. Who knows? I'm not saying it's him. I'm just saying, who knows? But while so out of touch with your customers and investors, sad coming in from It's All Risky, perhaps no one in your boardroom is familiar with the people's crypto, Dogecoin, which embodies the meme economy and spirit of AMC. After this year, I figured you know a thing or two about the meme economy. Then this one, yo Adam, can you just tell us why didn't I accept Dogecoin? This is the question everybody deserves the answer. Well, he's not going to tell you, because if he did, he would have to actually go through and explain that there are forces within either AMC or from outside that are stopping this from happening. He's not going to do that, is he? It's not going to happen. You need Doge, and I'll tell you why. Nobody is going to buy a $20 to $30 worth of tickets / snacks and pay a $200 gas fee. You need to accept Dogecoin. Common sense. You're right. I mean, people don't want to be doing this. If people are spending Ethereum and paying these gas fees on a $20 to $30 ticket, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, especially if the gas fees are high. So why are they doing this? Why is it happening? Is the question everyone's asking. Here we go. Now we have to continue to be confident in Dogecoin, because we know there are things that are coming forward when it comes to acceptance, and significantly bigger fish to fry than AMC. AMC is a big company in terms of movies, but it's not really that big in terms of the impact it could have. If we had Walmart doing it, we already saw when Walmart, they were saying they were going to accept Litecoin, it spiked massively. So we have to have big players in the company industry, or in the company game, the company industry. Is that even a thing? But we have to have bigger players than that in order to see some of those bigger spikes from stuff like that. But a lot of articles are coming out covering this. The other one, Bitcoin Cash, which is ranked number 17. Still, why include that in there? I mean, now this one was actually a surprise to me. I do not know why they included this one in there. I had heard nothing about Bitcoin Cash being included. So this is another one that's kind of a little bit surprising, but it's not that surprising because, it's Bitcoin Cash. A lot of people include that, but still, it's crazy to see what we're seeing here. What do you think of Guardians of the Metaverse NFT? Meta Guardians, interesting. I have not heard of it yet, but maybe I'll take a look at it. Perhaps I will. I like NFTs. And speaking of NFTs, Dogex right now is continuing to move at an extremely fast pace. One of the most successful NFT launches of the entire year, with a ton of energy coming in, more people starting to buy and buy and buy. If you're interested, all you have to do is get MetaMask. Then you can simply go to dogex.ai in the MetaMask browser, and you can mint yourself one of them. If you get one of the rare ones, these things are now going for between $7,000 and $35,000. The rare ones are above that in some cases. So we're seeing huge buys coming in from the rare one, and people are minting these for around $300 and then selling it for that massive profit, which is awesome to see. And as that continues on more, we're going to see even more whales starting to come in and even more buying pressure. This thing is going to take off soon. Dogex to the moon is, I think, the way to go. By the way, we haven't said Dogecoin to the moon in a while. I feel like it's time. Let's go ahead and do it. First, let's see how many likes we can get. If we can get 100 new likes right now, we will instantly do a massive Dogecoin to the moon. I feel like that's just right. We need to do one. It's been too long. Let's see if we can just get 100 likes. That's not that hard. We can do that. I got, oh yeah, that's some people saying interesting things in the chat. Let's go. Well, yeah, that is true. Well, we're going to talk about too. We're going to talk about that too. But there's some positives and some negatives both, and that's the hard part. Is when you see the negatives and it makes you not want to be as positive on the positives. But it is what it is. It is what it is. That, by the way, that's not the only people who are trying to stop Dogecoin. FX Street, after making so many positive articles this month, is now making an article, Dogecoin price on a downward trend to 20 cents. So even them, they're now starting to try to turn their trajectory. But they said it was going to go higher in previous articles. FX Street, can you trust them? Well, let's be honest. No, you can't really trust them. China intensifies hunt for cryptocurrency miners in hiding as well. They're basically saying, if you're mining, we're going to get you, and we're going to stop you. They're not letting people mine, and yet people are doing it anyway because it's actually relatively easy to get away with it as long as you have some way to hide the electricity. If you can do that, if you can make it look like a legitimate operation, which technically all of these operations are legitimate, it's just not under their laws. If you can make it look like it's a legal operation, then you can pretty easily get away with it. That's why we have not seen all of the China mining shut off, and also on top of that, because a lot of the China mining is just based in China in terms of the location we can see, even though really it's actually people in the US or in another country who are just going through a Chinese mining pool. So all of that is just something to consider there as China continues to try to go after these people. We're going to see them be successful in a lot of cases though, because it's not actually, I mean, it's possible to hide, but it's not actually that hard because you can just look at unusual electricity use. You can also just go and look inside buildings where you think there may be activity. It's not as hard as you think, unless you do it somewhere in the country. But at that point, people are just going to start moving their operations to the United States. What's the point of staying in China if you're going to have to worry about that every day when when you can just move. We also see this article, Bitcoin uses more electricity than many countries. Oh my gosh, oh no. In 2009, you could mine 1 Bitcoin using a setup like this in your living room with a computer. Now, the amount of household electricity required is 9 years worth. Put in terms of typical home electricity, it's around 12,500. The value, about 50,000. And by the way, these stats, we have to take them with a grain of salt. I don't think they have enough evidence of that, but they're saying it anyway. I've looked into it. My estimation is, it's only an estimation, you can't know for sure. My estimation is it's significantly lower than that, and the reason why is because a lot of these are going through mining pools, like I said, and yet they're still calculating that anyway, as if it's going through the same computer there, but it's not. And so immediately you have to take off at least half of some of these calculations here. But even despite that, and they show things like this, Denmark, Chile, Finland, Netherlands, Sweden, and they're showing, oh my gosh, some countries are using either less electricity than Bitcoin or using close to the same amount. All those countries, by the way, really small countries with a tiny fraction of the amount of people that the United States have, and an even tinier fraction amount of people of the amount of people that China has. And yet they're making this case, but the case is not whether or not Bitcoin uses electricity, because yes, it does. And yes, it takes a lot of it for it to operate efficiently. Yes, Bitcoin is not the most efficient one. Dogecoin is significantly better in that regard. But even with all of that said, the question is not, should we or should we not mine Bitcoin in terms of electricity? The question is Bitcoin and using that and using cryptocurrency better when it comes to electricity than the current systems? But you'll never see them doing that. They never are going to compare it to the current systems. Every single time they do this, they're always just going to leave it on the table by itself without the comparison, because if they actually did decide to compare it, they would see the current financial systems use so much more than any single of these countries listed. They use actually more than every single country there combined by a decent margin. So it's not even close to close. And even on top of that, it's not just the total energy usage, the amount per transaction that you're doing. When you think about this and you think about the banks and the cars and everything going to all of these systems and all of the computers running and all of these places, when you think about all of that together, you start to realize the massive magnitude that the current systems use and why this one is so much more efficient. So these people are disingenuous. If they really wanted to actually help with electricity and energy usage, they wouldn't have this method. They would have a different one. And that's how you know that there's actually more nefarious sources and more nefarious people at play. By the way, you saw in the thumbnail, Jeff Bezos. The Washington Post has been making some very negative anti-cryptocurrency articles like this one about energy, and Jeff Bezos, of course, having a big role in that because that's his publication, right? So he has a big role in that. Jeff Bezos is trying to stop Dogecoin. He's trying to stop cryptocurrency. Why? Simply because he doesn't like it, I think. And there's also the possibility that he's not really actually playing as big of a role in that, and it's just the writers there. But regardless, either he's playing a role or the writers are doing it and he's allowing it. He's okay with it, and he's not trying to tell them, hey, don't do that. Actually do your research first, because it'll be one thing if they actually had a case here. If it really was that much worse, if it really did have that much worse of an impact, then okay, you can actually make the article, you can have the case, that's okay. But it's not. And so you have to actually either be disingenuous to people or fail to do your own research to believe something like that and to push against it, and yet that's what's happening. And so don't worry, we're gonna keep calling it out. We're not done yet. Jeff Bezos, you think you can get away with it, don't you? You think you can just keep moving along, shimmying along and get away, but no, not so fast. As we also see, Shiba to the moon, it says, Brian, if you want to invest in it, that's up to you. It's up to you. Dogex is gaining value quickly from Steven Steele. Its metaverse is building ETH/Doge bridges. That's true. The community is awesome. A great time to get in while you still can. I love that from Steven. Right after his live's over, if you want to go check that out, now's the perfect time at MetaMask, Dogex.ai. I'm Matt Wallace. This is Smile Stand, and I will see you in the next video.